Hey, hey, it's Aaron. Welcome back to Fast Brain Sobriety, the channel for high achieving ADHD, curious minds ready to train their brains, rewire their habits, and reclaim their edge. Today, we're going to be talking about the 20,000 labels that shape my life and how you can finally break free using something I like to call the Dare to Be Sober method. Let's jump in. By the age of 12, kids with ADHD tendencies hear 20,000 more negative comments than their peers. That is crazy. Things like sit still, focus. Why can't you just try harder? Each one plants a seed that I'm not enough, I can't do much, I'm stupid. And when I was a kid, I loved learning, but I hated school. And report card said, hey, he's smart, he just can't focus. And those labels became my identity. Lazy, dumb, too much. I had to calm down. Those things became my identity. And what I didn't know, the ADHD brains process information and emotion differently than other people. Every bit of criticism cuts deeper and cuts sticks longer than the regular person. Why did alcohol make things worse? Well, to cope, I turned to alcohol, thinking it would take off the edge, right? Thinking it would fix the pain, but it actually amplified the pain. And here's why. Because number one, alcohol messes with your dopamine. ADHD brains run on a load on dopamine, the feel-good chemical, right? And alcohol gives you that short high, then causes something called a craving rebound, or something I call a craving rebound, or a crash. Right? And that crash makes rejection feel heavier and shame lasts longer because you get stuck in this loop, right? You drink to get that short-term reward. You get that short-term reward, you have that crash, there's a rebound, and then you have to drink more just to feel better. And then you pass out, you wake up again, you're full of anxiety and shame and all these things. And then you continue that loop. And that's exactly where I was stuck. Also, alcohol shuts down your emotional brakes, right? Alcohol weakens something called the prefrontal cortex, the part that calms your emotions. So a small comment can hit you like a punch in the gut. And actually, there's a lot of doctors and psychologists that say that, there's a rejection sensitivity dysphoria, or RSD, as they call it, can actually make you feel physical pain inside your stomach, inside your gut. So it could feel like a literal punch in the gut, when some of this stuff. And the third thing is alcohol destroys your sleep and recovery. So alcohol blocks something called REM sleep, the stage where emotional stress gets processed, your body regenerates itself. All those great things happen, and you don't get that REM sleep when you go through this, when you drink alcohol, and you wake up replaying old emotions with less regulation and more shame. And I know for me, when I don't get enough sleep, my ADHD tendencies are really amped up. I can't focus. I can't stay on one task. I can't do things. So having that good sleep is super important. Now that I'm sober, I get a better sleep, but when I was drinking, it made things even worse. So the bottom line is alcohol doesn't dull rejection sensitivity dysphoria, it doubles it. So we're going to train your brain. We're not going to numb it with alcohol, right? So why does rejection hurt so much for ADHD minds as well? Well, you get the dopamine dysregulation, right? So you get lower baseline dopamine, bigger emotional crashes, like I said. You get amygdala hyperreactivity. Your threat detector fires faster and louder, even when there's not. The threat is emotional, right? It's just louder, it's faster. This may be why you're feeling a little more sensitive. And your logic shows up late. Emotion hits you first because you have a weak prefrontal regulation inside your brain. And that's not anything to do with you. It's just how your brain works, right? So criticism means amygdala panic, dopamine crash, emotional overload. The pain isn't weakness, it's just wiring inside your brain. That's just how your brain works. So that's why these labels and these criticisms and alcohol just doesn't seem to cure that, because it's the criticism that you're feeling is just part of the way your brain is working as well. So there's better ways to get through this, and one of these better ways is the Dare to Be Sober framework, and we're gonna do that with a little bit of reflection today. So this is how you break rejection sensitivity and destroy labels very quickly. So D is for disrupt. We're gonna disrupt that programming. Those old voices like you're lazy, you're too much, unfocused, they're just programming, and when they appear, you want to interrupt them with something called a power pause. So it's just 3 breaths in. 3 breaths out and say out loud, that's not truth. That's just my programming. 3 breaths in, 3 breaths out. That's not truth. That's just my programming, right? Break that pattern with the power pause, because fast brain reframed is you're not broken. You're just triggered by your history, by your past, and that's not you. So we want to really disrupt that pattern with a power pause. And then A is for ask better questions, right? Once a storm is disrupted, let's get curious about what's going on. Who is this voice, right? What does it look like? What does it sound like? What story does this label want me to believe? What does this voice want me to believe? Is this helping me grow or keeping me small? That's a great question to ask because curiosity shifts your emotion to logic, right? So curiosity is regulation. Curiosity is one of the parts of our brain that's actually good. It's a superpower. So let's get curious about what that. Ask better questions and disassociating yourself from that voice in your head is really great as well, especially with alcohol cravings and these rejections that you're hearing, these criticism. Call it the evil clown, call it something, name it. That's really going to help too. And then we're going to reframe the story, right? Turn these old labels into new power statements, right? So say you think that you're too impulsive. Well, how about you're quick to adapt and you're adaptable, right? How about you're too emotional? How about you're empathetic and connected? That's a great thing. How about addict, right? You think you're an addict, you're just an addict. Well, how about you just reframe that too? I'm a resilient human who learned to self-soothe. You're not erasing labels, you're just outgrowing them, right? So that's going to be a really great way to reframe that. And also, with alcohol, if it says it's going to turn this voice off, ask yourself, is it actually going to turn that voice off? Well, maybe for the minute, but it's actually going to make things worse tomorrow. Another thing to think of is play it tape forward. If I have a drink, is this voice going to get worse or is it going to get better? It's probably going to get worse. So let's just focus on what it's going to look like if we don't have that drink and move forward with tomorrow. And then we're going to engage, right? Engage in something that's going to move you forward towards this new sober identity, right? Because identity happens through action. So do one act that proves this new label true, right? You have this new label, can't focus. Let's do a 25-minute focus block, or let's jump into something that we really love for 25 minutes and prove that we can focus. Lazy, finish one. If you're saying it's lazy, finish one meaningful task, just one task. Remember the 2-minute rule. Just say, I'm going to do this for 2 minutes, right? And then jump in. You're probably going to do it more than 2 minutes if you're like me, because each action releases dopamine and rewires your identity. Each time we take an action, that's a vote for the person we want to be, like James Clear says in the book Atomic Habits. So, and then every action is a vote for who you're becoming, right? So definitely something that you want to think about as well, because you don't fix RSD by avoiding emotions. You train your brain through process to process it faster and smarter and stronger, because we can't just sit in there in this critical mode. We have to get out there and learn how to deal with it. And the disrupt, ask, reframe, engage framework is definitely helpful for me, and it's been helpful for a lot of the people I work with as well. So that's how you destroy levels and build identity from power, not pain. If this hit home, please hit subscribe or drop a comment how you dealt with your RSD. Did it help? Did it not? I love feedback. And you can join the 7-day Fast Brain Reset Kickstart Challenge. It's free, and it starts November 1st on school. So let's retrain our brains. Let's not shame us. I'll see you guys inside the challenge and see you guys in the next video. We're going to be talking about more ways to train our brains instead of shame it and live in a happy, healthy, alcohol-free lifestyle. See you guys in the next video.